Hi there, my name is Hisham Shami, and I'm part of Group A along with Taya Costello, Katie Garcia, and Connor Gilly, and we decided to do a project on soundproof doors. So for the introduction and problem statement, we noticed that a lot of non-essential workers and students like ourselves have been struggling with keeping the workspace basically quiet in order to get as much focus and work done in a short amount of time. And specifically, the reason that's a problem when you have a noisy background is because it makes it really hard to focus. And so we decided that we would try to find a solution for working at home that doesn't that allows for people to basically not be bothered and disturbed by those around them. So the first thing that we did was talk to an expert, specifically Mr. Rod DeMember, Mr. Member's brother. We learned from him basically some of the basics of soundproofing, such as what an STC was, and that's just the sound transmission constant, or classification, sorry. And we also learned how he specifically was able to soundproof his rooms. He is a drum player, and so in order to soundproof his room, he bought acoustic blankets as well as added multiple layers into the floors and the walls. And so we decided that we would take this advice and previous solutions to the problem in order to translate that into our project. Basically, the way that sound works and the way that he was able to soundproof his door is by adding layers in what's called dead space. And dead space mutes sound and makes it so that there's less sound transmission, and that's what we tried to do with our project. We then conducted a survey in order to find out how often people struggle to find a quiet space to make sure that what we're solving is a real problem. And we also tried to cross-examine that with how many people will live with in order to decide whether that's a factor in whether or not people find a living space pretty quiet. So what we found was that 95% of participants stated that they do have some sort of trouble finding a quiet workspace, and 62% said that they would want to try a soundproofing project in the future. So for element B, we looked for previous solutions to similar problems. The easiest place that we decided to do this was on Amazon, especially with the pandemic. It's really easy. A lot of people have been ordering stuff, and so it's really easy to look up reviews and see what people have thought of previous products so that we can hopefully try to better and improve them in the future. So the first thing that we found was a strip that attaches to the bottom of the doors, and that basically soundproofs it. And we also found acoustic plating for walls, and what that does is it creates dead space so that sound hopefully mutants. And then the last thing that we found was another non-toxic strip made of silicone that was heat and cold resistant that seals off the bottom of the door to reduce sound. So we looked at these solutions and we created a matrix with 6 different criteria: effectiveness, cost, design, size, how eco-friendly it was, and the application of it. And using this matrix, we were able to decide that the acoustic studio foam was the most cost-efficient, effective, design-worthy, and size-efficient. And we ended up with a score of 25 out of 30, so we decided to go forward with that. And basically build off of that. One of the biggest problems that we had with the acoustic foam was that it smelled toxic, and that the adhesive tabs are finicky and not even 2 inches thick, so that they could be kind of hard to apply. So for element C, we basically looked into how we could make the acoustic foam better. And the first thing that we decided was that we could have the strips filling in the gaps of the door at the bottom and not into the room, and therefore that would hopefully reduce the amount of smell coming out because it's not actually in the room. The second thing that we decided on was acoustic foam paneling on the inside of the door facing in. And the idea with that was that it would take up less space on the door and make it easier for the door to close. And the third thing that we decided was foam strips around the door with a clip attachment on the bottom with foam to seal the door so that you could take it on and off as needed. And these are the sketches of what we thought that this might look like. It's kind of difficult to see, but I believe that the presentation is shared with Mr. DeMember. And so in the end, we decided to go with the foam around the door and on the back, so specifically not under the door, because we wanted to make sure the door would be able to open and close and it wouldn't like slide off, and we thought this is the easiest way. And the design matrix gave us a score of 25 out of 30, therefore making it the most effective solution. So the summary of the final solution, we decided that the final solution would be foam strips around the door, which got a 26 out of 30 on our design matrix. And it's small and covers a lot of space. It's fairly cheap, it's simple, and it's made of recyclable materials, so that when you're done, you can throw away and recycle it. Katie Garcia's bio, Taya's bio, Connor's bio, and then me. My hobbies include preparing for academic competitions like mock trial and debate, as well as playing video games with my friends. And I eventually want to go into law school to hopefully become a politician. And these are our citations. Thank you very much for watching.